Rev up your engines! Well, at some point in time, it happens to all of us. You're driving down the road and your ABS light and your traction control light comes on, but your brakes still seem the same to you. Well, what does it mean? I'm going to show you. Well, anti-lock brake system and traction control keep your wheels from slipping. The basic ABS is anti-lock braking system. And what it does is when you're driving down the road and you hit the brakes hard, it will not allow your wheel to lock up and skid. It will stop the wheel, but it won't make it lock up and then skid. So how does the system work? Well, we'll open the hood and show you. Of course, the braking system, the brake booster, the brake master cylinder, but over here is the anti-lock brake module. You can see it's got brake lines, it's got computer controls. At each wheel on this Toyota, there is a speed sensor, a wheel speed sensor. We'll start it up and turn the wheel so you can see it. There's the wheel speed sensor. Right there. That's the sensor. It measures how the wheel is spinning. The computer system and the ABS module will turn the fluid pressure off, going to the wheel that's locking up. Now, this is all done by the computer in thousandths of a second. It's all fast, but it keeps all the wheels stopping at the same speed. The idea is simple, right? But of course, using computers, it's a rather sophisticated system. As in any sophisticated systems, something can and often will go wrong. Even in a Toyota, the light is on. You got to access that information. So you need a decent scan tool. This is a new one I'm trying out. Topped on Diag Pro. $500 scan tool. It's what pros do. It's made for professional people, but anybody can operate it. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you can get cheap ones, maybe as low as $100, that will be able to read some of the ABS codes. The reason I'm showing this is because this does bi-directional controlling. So if there's a problem in the system, I can actually activate different things to see if they operate. Maybe it's in the ABS module, which costs a small fortune. You don't want to guess with that kind of money. Maybe it's just a sensor. But we can actually do bi-directional testing. So first, we're going to see what the code is. You just stick it in the OBD port, which in this case is right here. And today it's cold outside, so I'm going to start her up, turn the heat on, and roll the window up. All right, Toyota Tacoma. For the scan tool, you'll notice both the ABS and the traction control lights are on. As I said, they're relatively complex systems, so the traction control and the ABS use similar software. Neither of them wants the car to skid, whether you're accelerating or decelerating. So often if you have a problem in one or other of the systems, it will trip both lights. So what we're going to do is look at the data first. And what we see is there's ABS codes and there's an immobilizer code. Now I know it has an immobilizer code because this is my daughter-in-law's work truck and they had a problem with the keys, so I bypassed the stupid system that it had on it, and it reads weird. There's nothing wrong with it. It works perfectly fine, but I had to bypass it because they lost the keys out in the woods. So I had to go up there with a screwdriver and some tape, and I just rewired some stuff. The problem is the ABS system. So as you can see, everything's green except for the ABS. So we will go to the ABS system. And it says there's an open or short in the front speed sensor. Same code twice. It's not the giant expensive ABS modulator. It's a problem in the right front speed sensor circuit. So we don't have to be checking everything. We know it's in the right front. And kind of that makes sense for one main reason. They took the truck out to their land out in the country after a big rainstorm, and it's just a dirt road. It got stuck in the mud up to about here. We had to get my grandson's giant Tundra to pull it out with a tow rope because it was stuck. The back was a little bit deep, but the front was completely under. When you get mud and crap in there, there's no saying what's going to happen to one of these systems. What we can see is there's the sensor. It got knocked off. You can see the remnants of the mud. I got my pressure washer. I don't know, I might even have knocked this off with the pressure washer because there was so much mud all over the place. We want to make sure there's no damage. I don't see any rocks or anything, so I'm assuming it probably got the pressure washer knocked it off. This one might be my fault, you know, who knows. So we're just going to push it back in. You heard it click. Now it's in. Now, if it was just knocked off, easy fix. Sometimes rocks will hit it, they'll break the wires. Sometimes rocks will get inside the disc, and on the inside of the sensor here, there might be a piece of dirt or rock blocking it. So if it's plugged in, but it doesn't work right, could easily be blockage, which you can just unplug the whole thing, which I'll show you on the other side because it's easier to see. As you can see under here, there's just a bolt. You take the bolt off, you pull the sensor off. If a dirt or rock got inside, you can clean it off. Sometimes metal pieces get in there because it is magnetic, and then you can just take it out, clean the metal piece, and put it back on. But if you want to fix something right, this isn't the time to close the hood and walk away because you got to reset it. So we'll go back inside, we'll turn the key on, so the lights are on but it's not running, and we will clear the codes. They're cleared, but of course, we want to read them again to make sure there's no trouble codes. So we'll go all the way back and we'll see everything's green. So the next thing we're going to do is road test. And while we're road testing it, check this out. Here's all the ABS data. If there was a problem, we are able to do bidirectional testing. What we're going to check now is the wheel speeds, and it would be the right front. Realize if that sensor did get hit by something, it wasn't just me knocking it off with a pressure washer. It could have damaged the sensor and it won't work anymore. So as we drive down the road, we'll check the speed. And as you can see, it's working, be it in kilometers per hour. I didn't bother to reset it to miles per hour. It's set on kilometers an hour, but it's working perfectly fine now. And as you can see on the dash, when I stop turning the wheel, all the lights are off. No more of those stupid, annoying lights are on. So in this case, no damage was done other than it got knocked off, and it's working perfectly fine. So you can see how a scanner like this, it actually works really well. It's got 97 points of data for the ABS system. This is how complex it is. Maybe it's just an ABS solenoid that's gone bad. Let me tell you, those modules cost a small fortune. If you can get away with just buying a solenoid and replacing it, of course, you're much better off. That's why these machines are really a must-have for anybody who's seriously working on cars these days. And check this out. You can actually see the pressure of the master cylinder. Look, here's the master cylinder pressure. I step on it, step really hard, and it shows the pressure that's coming out. How long do you have to guess? Oh, is it a bad master cylinder? Is it something else? You can do a lot of testing with one of these machines. Make your head spin so you're not guessing at parts. It even shows you the supply voltage to the motor inside the ABS modulator. Shows you what the power is to the solenoids, if there's a supply open in the wiring so it's not getting any power, but maybe it's getting power but not enough. It'll also show the supply voltage. There it is, 13.65 normal. Maybe it was only 5 if there's a problem. It isn't a short because there's still power but less power. These things are amazing. I do have to say, so far I'm kind of blown away by this top-down RD Dog Pro. Now a lot of people whine, they say, oh, it doesn't have wireless. This plugs into the dash. Well, let me tell you something. I don't want stinking wireless stuff. Wireless stuff often gets interference, doesn't work. Sometimes the batteries go bad. The main thing is 2 points here. 1, it plugs into the dash with the cable. Nothing is going to go wrong as long as you're not dumb and you break the cable by running over it. But 2 is equally important. Check this out. I've been using it, but the battery is at 100% because the battery in this is now plugged into the car. It is charging the battery as we speak. Now, especially in cold weather, this is a blessing in disguise because if you have a wireless one, you have to keep the unit charged up all the time. In the middle of a cold day, if you're working and it goes dead, you're like, yeah. In this case, it's running off the power of the car. So it's going to last pretty much indefinitely. One of these can be operated by a car battery for probably months and months and months. I like the idea that it's got a cord and it isn't wireless because this is a very good system and it is not going to go dead while I'm working on it. It just uses the power of the battery. And if I forgot to recharge and say it was only 10%, I don't care. Because as I'm working on the car, it's actually recharging off the car's battery. It isn't going to go to 0. It's actually going to get a higher charge as long as I have it plugged into the car. Then when you're done, you just turn it off. You push the button, power off, and it turns itself off. So there you have it. Now you've learned a whole bunch about anti-lock brake systems and how computers like this make them relatively easy to work on. Plus, I gotta say, so far, this top-down scan tool, I'm rather impressed. I would much rather have a plug connected to the car, directly to the scan tool. When you have a wireless one, you have to keep track of the computer and also the wireless dongle that plugs in. So many times, I've either lost the wireless dongle or it broke, and I could no longer connect to the car. Pretty easy to take care of this. Look, it's all one piece. I wind it up and I put it away. Then I know when I grab it, it's going to work. It's got a battery, which lasts quite some time. But even if the battery was dead, you plug it in the car, it's going to work. You wouldn't have to wait to recharge it. You don't have to hope you can find where you put the wireless dongle because you left it amongst something else. This is all one piece. I like it actually better than the wireless. What works better in your car? A plain old key or a wireless key? What happens when a wireless key breaks? Costs a small fortune. You lose it. Costs a small fortune to replace it. A regular key? No. This is a regular scanner. It's a very good scanner, but I don't have to worry about the wireless aspects going bad. Your ABS lights on? Hey, there's various computers you can try. If you just got a simple basic one, it's going to give you some information. A simple basic one would probably tell you that at least when you went to the data for wheel speed, you'd see that the left front and the left rear and the left right rear had the speed, but the right front didn't have any speed. So the first thing you're going to do is go to the wheel and see why isn't there any speed. And you would have seen that it got knocked off when it went through the mud in a ditch. And of course, things aren't always that simple. If there was a problem in the modulator, what would you rather do? Buy an $1,800 modulator? Or perhaps get a solenoid valve that you can replace. Good one like this shows you what the data is on the solenoid valve, shows you if there's a wiring fault going to that solenoid, shows you the voltage that solenoid has. Good information for fixing something that, since mechanics today charge $150, $180 an hour labor, you might think about getting a scan tool, at least a $100 one that'll read some of the stuff, or maybe go whole hog, spend $500 if you're going to work on your own car. The money it's going to save you in the long run make your head spin. Because they work on all the cars, so it's not like you can buy a different one for each car. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.